My wife and I went through a road filled with accidents on our way to divorce. And somehow we were both reborn back to the day we first fell in love 10 years ago. In our past life, we had been married for 6 years, but she despised me for being unsuccessful and constantly picked fights with me. During one of those arguments, I found out her first love had become the richest man in the city. Compared to him, all she felt for me was disdain and disgust. After being reborn, I gave her the freedom to choose the life she wanted. 10 years later, she achieved her dream of marrying the city's richest man. And at our university's anniversary celebration, she proudly stood beside him while they made a generous donation. To everyone else, I was still just a lowly government worker. She leaned against his arm gracefully, looking down on me. 10 years without seeing you, and you're still so unambitious. I'm glad I made the right choice back then and cut my losses early. But then, my special agent wife hooked her arm through mine, and when Luciana saw it, she slammed her wine glass down in shock. At the university's centenary celebration, Luciana and I crossed paths again. She had finally married her first love, and now sat proudly in the role of the first lady of the city's wealthiest man. Basking in all the attention, when I walked into the hall, I saw Luciana and her husband, James Jin, standing at the center of the crowd, soaking in the compliments. CEO James really is a prodigy. With his sharp vision and ability to dominate the market, he truly deserves his title as the city's richest man. I heard CEO. James is donating to our university's lab tens of millions, right? It's all thanks to Luciana. Since she graduated from here, James is supporting the school. You two are such a great couple. We're all envious. Luciana smiled and waved her hand modestly. Please, don't flatter me. My husband has the ability, so it's only natural he supports education. It's not because of me. Hearing her, the crowd praised her even more eagerly. Ah, who doesn't know you two were high school sweethearts? Everyone envies this love. Right. You've been together for more than 10 years now. And Luciana, you still look so young, like you're in your 20s. You and James are such a perfect match. Then, someone in the crowd asked curiously, By the way, Luciana, do you still keep in touch with Romeo? I heard he took the civil service exam after graduation. Did he pass? I remember seeing you two together often in college. I thought you might end up together. I wonder if he'll show up today. At the mention of my name, James's face stiffened with displeasure. Luciana gently patted his hand to soothe him and explained gracefully, Romeo, you've almost made me forget that name. Back when my husband and I had long-distance problems, he chased after me for a while. But my love for my husband has always been real. It's not something anyone could interfere with. The crowd quickly fell silent and changed the subject. But just then, someone spotted me. Ah, speaking of Romeo, there he is. I didn't expect him to actually show up. The moment James saw me, his face darkened. You're Romeo? He asked coldly. Luciana looked me up and down, disdain clear in her eyes. Still just a little civil servant, huh? And on such a grand occasion, you show up dressed so casually. I looked up and saw them clearly in the crowd for the first time. Luciana wore an exclusive luxury dress, her hair styled elegantly, diamond earrings sparkling with every move. She radiated elegance and charm. James stood beside her in a tailored suit, his luxury watch flashing as he moved, the very picture of wealth. Together, they looked like the perfect power couple. I smiled politely. Yes, I'm still a civil servant. Not as wealthy and impressive as you, but yes, a government worker, even though my rank was not low. Everyone could see James and Luciana were clearly unhappy at my presence. After all, one was the city's richest man, and the other was just a government employee. It was obvious who they would rather flatter. It's been so many years, Romeo, and you're still like this? How pitiful. Government workers barely make a few thousand a month. I bet your salary doesn't even cover one of James's meals. Good thing Luciana didn't end up with you. Look at those clothes. You don't belong at an event like this. Yes. My clothes were from an ordinary brand, but comfort mattered more to me than labels. I smiled, unfazed by their mockery. After all, at my current rank, even James didn't matter in front of me. These sycophants were nothing. I was never meant to be with Miss Lucina, I said calmly. It's for the best that we didn't end up together. Hearing my words, Luciana's face flushed with embarrassment, and she couldn't maintain her composure anymore. Romeo, look at you. You're still the same useless coward as before. For me, it's a blessing we didn't end up together. You're just a lowly civil servant earning a few thousand a month, barely scraping by. Look at yourself, who would ever like a man with such a beggar-like appearance. As I stared at the anger and venom twisting Luciana's face, memories of our countless arguments from the past life came rushing back. We had met in university, fallen in love, and eventually got married after graduation. At first, life was good. We had our own home, a decent car, and though we didn't have children, our life felt meaningful and complete. But that happiness didn't last. After a class reunion, Luciana began to change. She picked fights over the smallest things, throwing tantrums, accusing me of being a failure, of not making enough money, of not giving her the lifestyle she wanted. Luxury bags and expensive goods kept piling up at home, and I started to suspect something was wrong. One night, she didn't return home until morning. When she did, her neck was covered with marks from passion. That night turned into the fiercest argument we'd ever had. It was then I learned she had a boyfriend back in high school. And at the reunion, she found out he had risen through AI and become the richest man in the city. Seeing him, she regretted breaking up with her first love and marrying me instead. In her rage, she hurled her handbag at me, shouting, "Romeo, I must have been blind to marry you. So what if I cheated? Don't I have the right to choose a better life? Look at this bag. Do you even know how much it costs? With your pathetic government job, you could never afford something like this." It was the spring festival. Firecrackers booming outside as families celebrated together. When my wife calmly confessed she had cheated, we agreed to divorce as soon as the civil office reopened after the holiday. But on the way, another heated fight broke out. In her rage, Luciana grabbed the steering wheel. The car spun out of control, and we both died instantly. When I opened my eyes again, I was back 10 years earlier, to the day we had first gotten together. This time, I let her go. She quickly returned to James, her first love, while I stayed on the same path as before university and preparing for the civil service exam. But this time, I had 10 extra years of wisdom and experience. I worked harder, passed the exam, and advanced quickly. My proposals contributed to the city's development, and I was soon transferred to the capital. There, I met my current wife through work. She turned out to be the only daughter of a high-ranking official. We married quietly, inviting only close family. I was at the alumni event today only because the principal invited my father-in-law. My wife had gone to meet him while I came to the hall alone. Running into Luciana and James was never part of the plan. But since fate put us face to face, I reminded myself the one who betrayed wasn't me. The one who should avoid confrontation wasn't me. As I stayed silent, the crowd around us began sneering. "Why aren't you saying anything? Did Luciana hit a nerve? Almost 30 and still single, huh? On a civil servant's salary, how could you even afford a wife? Who would marry you, Romeo? I heard you only work 9 to 5. Maybe you should start a street stall at night. We'd come to support you." I didn't waste my breath on them. I simply smiled and replied politely, "No need. I'm already married, and my job is going well." The moment I said that, Luciana's expression changed. "You're married? Since when? Why didn't you tell me?" I looked at her, puzzled. What did my marriage have to do with her? After reincarnation, we had cut all contact and gone our separate ways. My wedding in the capital had been small, only family invited. There was no grand ceremony. Seeing my confusion, Luciana forced a laugh to cover her slip. "We're all old classmates. A big event like your marriage, you should have invited us to celebrate. Or are you just making it up? Did you really get married, or are you just trying to save face?" Her words made the crowd burst into laughter again. "Yeah, this city is so small, and we didn't hear a single thing about your marriage. You're probably just bluffing. Come on, Romeo being single isn't shameful, but lying is. Stop pretending and save yourself the embarrassment. We all know each other. James, who had been watching the show from the sidelines, finally spoke up, looking down at me from his lofty position. "Why don't you come work at my company? We're booming right now with government support and the future is bright. Since you and Luciana are old classmates, how about you come work as my driver? The salary might not be high, but it's definitely better than being a civil servant. What do you think?" He was dressed in a high-end tailored suit, but the stench of arrogance in his words was nauseating. Everything about his behavior screamed nouveau riche. As for the so-called classmates standing around, they were all dressed up in pretentious outfits, constantly belittling civil servants as if they had the right. I couldn't hold back anymore. If it weren't for civil servants working day and night to maintain social order and stability, would any of you even have the comfortable lives you enjoy? And Mr. James, you call yourself the CEO of a booming AI company, but as I recall, it was founded and is still run by your father. Isn't he probably out there right now meeting with government officials? You talk about government support while mocking civil servants as inferior. What gives you that right? My words were sharp and steady, and for a moment the crowd fell silent. James's face went pale, caught between anger and disbelief, clearly not expecting me to reject him so directly. I gave him a cold glance. I had met plenty of real entrepreneurs in the capital who were genuinely building society, but none of them acted like James riding the wave of the times while being so dismissive. The others might flatter him, but to me he wasn't worth a shred of respect. Frustrated by the silence, James snapped. "What are you so proud of? A lowlife like you, what do you have compared to the people you brag about? And so what if the company is my father's? I'm his son, and one day it will all be mine. What are you? Just a clown putting on a show." Some of the classmates, eager to curry favor with him, quickly joined in. "Yeah, Romeo. Stop spouting those fake high principles. The people you're talking about, what do they even have to do with you? You sound like you're just jealous. James, our CEO, was kind enough to offer you a job, and instead of being grateful, you're acting tough. Do you think he can't make sure you disappear from this city tomorrow?" I couldn't help but laugh. "Well then, let's see. Let's see if he really has that kind of power. I'm not worried because even the top companies in the capital wouldn't dare to talk to me like this." With that, I ignored them and walked off toward the break area, sitting down on my own. A few of them spat insults at my back as I left. Ugh. Romeo really has thick skin. Shameless. James even considered making him a driver. But if it weren't for James, he'd never even touch a luxury car in his life. Disgusting. He should just leave already. He's ruining the vibe. Leave. No way. Our university's centennial celebration is prestigious, with plenty of influential figures and politicians attending. Guys like him always try to latch on to someone powerful. That's probably why he's still hanging around. I had planned to leave already. My wife had asked me to wait. Here she wanted to greet my classmates personally. She should be arriving soon. Meanwhile, James, encouraged by the flattery around him, started showing off again. Yes, there are many distinguished guests today. I heard they even invited a high-ranking official from the capital. My father is with the principal right now, giving the official a tour of the campus. The classmates gasped with envy. Oh my God, the CEO gets to meet such an important official. That's someone you only see on the news. I heard the official even has an only daughter. Supposedly, she's the capital's one and only female special envoy, with a shining future ahead. Such a pity she's already married. Her husband is a perfect matcha, top-tier special envoy himself. That family, if they stomp their foot, the whole capital shakes. Though James pretended to brush off the compliments, he clearly enjoyed them. Ah, it's nothing. Anyway, our company will be hosting a donation ceremony in this hall later. The top leader will attend, and I'll introduce you to them so you can get some FaceTime, as he spoke. James glanced at me with disdain. That's the difference between people. Some are young and already have the favor of top leaders, becoming the youngest special envoy in the entire capital. And some, born with lowly fates, are doomed to stay bottom-tier civil servants forever. What nerve they have to act proud. Just then, a tall, elegant figure appeared at the entrance of the hall. The moment she stepped inside, Everyone's attention shifted to her. My God, who is she? That presence is overwhelming. She doesn't look like one of our classmates. Could it be the female special envoy from the capital? No one told me she was this beautiful, and she's not even wearing makeup? How is that possible? Oh my God, if it's her, I give up. Perfect family background, amazing looks, already married and super capable. She has it all. While the crowd buzzed with excitement, I stayed calm, quietly watching her approach. Many classmates looked eager to rush up to greet her, but to their shock, she ignored them all and walked straight toward me. Her cold expression softened instantly, replaced with a warm, radiant smile. Hubby, I missed you. As Alice spoke, she slipped her arm through mine and leaned in to whisper. This hall was really hard to find. Dad and the others are still at the back, but I missed you so much, so I came here first. The classmates exchanged stunned glances, unable to believe what they were seeing. Which Romeo really wasn't lying? He's actually married? And his wife is the special envoy from the capital? Seeing everyone's attention on us, Alice gave me a playful wink. Hubby, these are your classmates, right? Aren't you going to introduce me? I hadn't planned on entertaining these people, but since Alice said it, I smiled and turned to the crowd. Everyone, this is my wife, Alice, the special envoy from the capital. The hall erupted in shock. She really is a special envoy. Then Romeo is the son-in-law of a top leader from the capital? Oh my God, did I say something earlier that might have offended him? Whispers ran through the crowd and someone muttered, if that's true, James the nouveau rich is nothing in comparison. If Romeo really wanted to, he could crush James's company tomorrow. The classmates who had mocked me earlier turned pale, clearly afraid I might take revenge for their insults. Luciana, her face twisted with anger, stepped forward, but before she could speak, Alice extended her hand with a smile. Hello, you must be Luciana. I've heard about you. You almost ended up with Romeo, right? Then I should thank you for being so short-sighted and leaving this capable, wonderful man to me. Her words were polite on the surface, but sharp underneath. I couldn't help smiling. Her jealous side was actually kind of cute. Luciana ignored Alice's hand completely and glared at me with rage. Romeo, where did you find this actress? Don't think I'll fall for this. Alice withdrew her hand, frowning slightly as she turned to me. Hubby, is there something wrong with your classmate? Luciana slapped Alice's hand away and nearly broke down. Say something, Romeo. Answer me. I stepped in front of Alice protectively and gave Luciana a cold stare. I already said it. Clearly Alice is my wife. We've been married for 3 years. Show some respect. Luciana opened her mouth to argue, but before she could, James finally stood up. He gave her an annoyed look before turning to me with narrowed eyes. Luciana just can't accept that you're fooling her with an actress. If I'm not mistaken, the woman behind you is someone you hired, right? My father is with the big leader right now, and as the leader's daughter, Miss Koo should be accompanying him. How could she possibly show up here? James sneered, proud of his deduction. Do you realize what a crime it is to impersonate a special envoy from the capital? You've really got guts. And that woman behind you, with her looks, how could she possibly be interested in you? You must be using her as a stand-in. Before I could reply, a loud voice rang out from the doorway. I'll just have to see for myself. My daughter, Alice Wren, doesn't need to be anyone's scapegoat. Under the stunned eyes of the crowd, a group of security guards escorted an elderly man into the hall, followed by the principal and several other leaders. Alice and I immediately stepped forward, one on each side, to support him. The old man nodded to me, then scanned the crowd. His eyes landed on James, who was suddenly pale with fear. So you're the one who said my son-in-law is using a scapegoat? His voice thundered. I'm Lucas Wren, standing right here. Tell me to my face, what shameful thing has my daughter done that she would need a scapegoat? His years of authority in the capital radiated off him, the weight of his presence making it hard for anyone to breathe. James stammered, his lips trembling. Though unwilling, he finally muttered, Sorry, Mr. Wren, I didn't realize. I was blind and didn't recognize your esteemed daughter. Please forgive me. Mr. Wren snorted coldly and looked away. I knew exactly what he meant. The one James should apologize to wasn't him, it was my wife, Alice Wren. The classmates held their breath, terrified of getting dragged into this. James, usually so arrogant, was trembling under the pressure. Grinding his teeth, he forced out, "Romeo, don't push your luck." I couldn't help but laugh. Push my luck? You've always mocked me, looked down on public servants, and insulted my wife. Now I'm just asking you to take responsibility for your own words. Tell me, where exactly have I gone too far? Before James could respond, a plump figure from the crowd suddenly smacked him hard on the back of the head. "You ungrateful brat. Do you even realize what you're doing? This is Mr. Wren, a respected figure in the capital. Do you know how much effort it took to invite him here? If it weren't for the centennial anniversary celebration, he wouldn't even set foot in a small place like ours. And now you've gone and offended his daughter and son-in-law. Do you understand how many years of economic growth our city could gain from just one word from Mr. Wren? If you're looking to destroy yourself, don't drag me down with you." After scolding James, the middle-aged man turned to me with a guilty look. "I'm sorry, everyone. This brat is my son. He's young, reckless, and doesn't know how to control his words or actions. Please don't hold it against him, Mr. Wren. This is just a misunderstanding. They're all classmates, and you know how young people can be hot-headed. A little friction is normal. Tonight, I'll personally host a dinner and apologize properly, seeing that Mr. Wren wasn't saying anything." Mr. Jin smacked James on the back of the head again, harder this time. "Unfilial son. What are you standing there for? Go apologize now." But James, humiliated by the two slaps, suddenly lost control. He shouted at Mr. Jin, "Why should I apologize? What's Romeo to me that I should bow down to him? He's just a useless freeloader living off his wife's power. A poor man pretending to be important. What right does he have to make me apologize? I came here to donate to the lab today. Ask Romeo, does he even know how much lab equipment costs? Has he ever even seen that much money?" The hall instantly went silent. Mr. Wren's face darkened, his expression so grim it was as though ink would drip from it. The classmates exchanged uneasy glances, and some even seemed to agree with James. A few arrogant male students whispered among themselves, "James isn't completely wrong. Isn't Romeo just relying on his wife? What's so impressive about that? If it were me, I could do the same." Mr. Wren's cold glare silenced the room. His voice was like a winter storm. "Living off someone, huh? Young Mr. Jin, if you didn't waste your life on luxury and actually cared about the development of this city, you wouldn't be saying such heartless things. Romeo is the youngest special envoy in the entire capital, no, in the entire country. His policies have repeatedly driven economic growth and urban development. Ask your father if it weren't for Romeo's proposal. Would your company have ever received official investment? And this time, if Romeo hadn't insisted that this city had great potential and that young enterprises here needed support, do you think we would have come?" James froze, stiff and speechless. Mr. Wren didn't even look at the classmates anymore. Instead, he turned to the principal. "You've been reminded time and again about quality education, yet look at these students reeking of arrogance and money. Graduates of a top university who have been in society for years, and instead of contributing, all they do is trample others to climb up. You should reflect on yourself as well." With that, Mr. Wren turned to leave the hall. Mr. Jin rushed forward, panicked, trying to block his way. "Mr. Wren, they're just kids fooling around. My son made a mistake, and I'll discipline him properly at home. Please don't be angry. The donation ceremony hasn't even started yet. You can't leave now." But Mr. Wren waved his hand, and security immediately pulled Mr. Jin back. I gave both Mr. Jin and James a calm glance. "Postpone the donation ceremony. For now, you should focus on fixing your company's tax problems. Otherwise, that title of richest man in town might not stay yours for long." Just as we were about to leave the hall, Luciana's voice called from behind me, "Romeo." Alice frowned slightly, clearly upset, and gave me a light punch. But she still supported the old man first, leaving me and Luciana a little space. Luciana's eyes burned with unwillingness as she stared at me. "Why did you become a special envoy? In your last life, You were just an ordinary civil servant. The secret of our two lives was something only she and I knew. But looking at her now, all I felt was emptiness. I'm not like you. After being reborn, I relied on my own experience to shine in my position. Everything I've achieved today is what I deserve. But you've been given another chance, you'd still choose to be someone's caged canary, unable to stand on your own. Luciana's eyes reddened, filled with both anger and grief. And her. Do you really think she loves you? She's only interested because you're young and already powerful. If you'd been this successful in our past life, I never would have left you. Her words dragged my mind back to the time I first arrived in the capital. Back then, I had no connections, no backing. I had to start from nothing. My proposals were constantly rejected and my suggestions ignored. But during that time, I met Alice. She supported my ideas, stood by my side, and helped mediate between all the opposing voices, even when my proposals were rejected. She'd stand in front of the room and say the same thing, word for word, whether it passes or not. Your faith and ideals move me, because I believe the same way. We both believed a person's will could overcome fate, that even if individual power is small, society still needs people like us. Hearing that, I looked at Luciana and shook my head. No, Alice isn't like you. She doesn't care about the perks or conditions around me. She cares about the passion in my heart. In my past life, I was similar. A small civil servant who still tried to make a difference. But you couldn't see that. You were blinded by the material world. You only saw money and status. When I said that, big tears rolled down Luciana's face. But you once told me you only liked me. You would only marry me, she cried. I froze for a moment. Yes, I had said that in my previous life. Though she wasn't my first love, she was mine. Back then, I would have moved mountains to make her happy. I sighed and let it go. The past life was the past. We'd agreed, when we were reborn, to follow our own paths. You pursue the life you want, and I'll walk mine. Besides, our last life ended badly. You cheated. You weren't happy in the marriage. What's the point of rehashing it now? I glanced toward Alice, who was waiting for me nearby. My wife is waiting. Excuse me? I turned to leave, but Luciana's broken voice called after me. Romeo, do you still love me? I didn't look back. My eyes stayed on Alice. In my past life, I loved you, I said quietly. But in this life, I love my wife. I thought that would be the last time our paths crossed. Then, 3 days later, news broke. Jin Group had been exposed for serious tax evasion and intellectual property violations. With multiple charges piling up, the company had to suspend operations and the responsible people were taken in for investigation. Mr. Ren was furious when he heard it. Damn them, he spat. Absolutely damned. They enjoy the benefits of society but refuse to contribute. They're parasites, a stumbling block to development. I patted the old man's back to calm him. Don't let these shady companies get to you. There are still many legitimate businesses doing good work. Alice, however, was steaming. Looks like the Jin Group's going under. Your rich ex might come crawling back to find you, she said, and I pinched her cheek with a chuckle. She's not my ex. We were never together. Over the next month, we stayed in the city to help promote development and assess other businesses. A few days later, an unfamiliar caller reached me. Romeo, have you seen the news about Jin Group? I was the one who reported them and submitted the evidence, Luciana said. I frowned, but replied politely, paying taxes is everyone's duty, Miss Luciana. Thank you for the report. She hurried on, suddenly confessing, I'm getting a divorce from James. I cut her off. Your marital problems aren't my business. Goodbye. After that call, many old classmates began ringing me, pretending to reconnect. Romeo, you and Ms. Shu are the perfect match, they cooed. Why didn't you invite us to your wedding? Even Luciana called, acting as if nothing had happened. Her persistence was relentless. I eventually blocked unknown numbers. I'd built a new life, a happy marriage, family, and a career I was proud of. I didn't want to be bothered by Luciana anymore, but I underestimated how shameless she was. Texts turned into, please, Romeo, Can we meet? I was wrong. What James and I had wasn't love. The only person I've ever loved in both lives is you. Please give me another chance. I don't want to lose you again. Reading those messages, I sneered. 2 lifetimes taught me everything I needed to know about Luciana. She never loved a person, she loved fame, wealth, and privilege. She loved whoever could give her that life. The messages stopped once I changed my number. A month later, as we prepared to return to the capital, Luciana loitered outside the hotel. When she saw me, she hurried over, eyes full of hope. Romeo, I divorced James. I'm back. I stepped back slightly, holding Alice's hand, and said coldly, "Have some self-respect." She ignored the fact that Alice stood beside me and went on. "Didn't we once love each other so deeply? Don't you remember our days together?" I squeezed Alice's hand and met Luciana with an icy look, no warmth in my voice. That was the past, not the present. I don't deny what happened before, but I don't cling to it. I only look forward. The person who will walk into that future with me will never be you. With that, I turned away, led Alice to the car, and left. My future was long, and I wouldn't waste it on someone who didn't matter. One life met another life and lost it. 2 lives met and parted. Luciana and I were never meant to be together.